Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nastahdik wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd. Okay, inshallah. So in the previous lessons we went through the history of the Shafi'i madhab and the different usul of the madhab and the history of the madhab as a whole, and then we went through the basics of Islam. We looked at the pillars of Islam and the pillars of Iman, and we looked at them into some depth, alhamdulillah. And then afterwards we went through Tahara. We went through Taharatu min al-Khabath. Does anyone remember what does Taharatu min al-Khabath mean? What is Khabath? Does anyone remember? Come on, don't be shy, inshallah. If anyone remembers what Khabath is. Okay, impurity. What type of impurity is it? You remember which two types of impurity I mentioned? There's khabath and hadath. Who remembers what they are? Okay, we have nobody trying. Remember, khabath is physical impurity. So we went through how to clean physical impurities. Okay, so we went through the types of water, and then we went through what the najasat are, and the different types of najasa, and how you purify yourself from them. Okay, so today inshallah we're going to be doing taharatu minal hadath. Okay, so the spiritual bodily impurities. Okay, so the first thing, okay, is istinja, cleaning yourself after going to the toilet. Okay, so cleaning the two bodily exits that you use to go to the toilet. And to clean yourself, you can use water, rocks, leaves, and so on, or paper, tissue, and so on. Okay, and in order to do istinja, you have to make sure you use a minimum of 3 wipes until you have completely purified the najasa. Okay, so the najasa is gone. It's fine to use toilet paper, provided it cleans you. Okay, so we'll look at the conditions of using a rock or toilet paper and so on. So, istinja with rocks. Firstly, the rock should be able to clean the najasa completely. Okay, so if you're using toilet paper, you should make sure that the najasa is completely gone. You shouldn't. It's not like the English people or Christians. They just wipe once with toilet paper and that's it. No, you have to make sure the najasa is completely gone. Okay, so every attribute of the najasa, the smell, the stain, completely disappeared. The next one is the rocks have to be clean. Okay, you can't do najasa with a dirty rock. And number 3, the najasa should not have spread from the origin. Okay, so the point where it exits the body. If it spreads beyond that, then you have to use water. Okay, so you can use anything to wipe it, provided it does not have any beneficial content on it. Okay, so don't use, for example, papers from a book to wipe after going to the toilet. Okay, so the sunnah of istinja. When we say istinja, it refers to the entire process of going to the toilet, doing your business, and then cleaning yourself afterwards. So the first sunnah is going into the toilet with the left leg, with the left foot, and leaving it with the right foot. The next one is doing dua when you enter the toilet. Say Bismillah inni a'udhu bika min al khabath min al khubthi wal khaba'ith. Okay, so make sure you remember this dua. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al khubthi wal khaba'ith. I nearly forgot it. Subhanallah. The next sunnah is making sure you use the left hand to clean yourself. Okay. The next one is to make sure that when you go to the toilet, you go somewhere where you are not seen, heard, or smelt. Okay, so the smell of the toilet does not annoy other people. Okay, so you have to be. So, for example, in the past when they didn't have toilets, you'd go somewhere secluded and do your business. Somewhere secluded, nobody can hear you, smell you, or see you. Okay, so in the modern day, this would be going to the toilet. Okay, not the toilets we have, the public toilets, where like the doors are half open. But the toilets, proper private place where nobody knows who's in the toilet. Yeah, it is that dua. Okay, and the last one is disposing of whatever you left behind. Okay, so in the past, when they didn't have toilets, it would mean like digging a hole and doing your business in the hole and then burying the toilet afterwards. Or in the modern day, it would be flushing the toilet. Okay. So the makruhat of istinja. So the first one is urinating or pooing in a place with a lot of water. Okay, so like if I go into a pond and I urinate in a pond, for example, it's makruh because that water is drinkable. I just wasted water. The next one is carrying something with the remembrance of Allah. So taking a Quran into the toilet, for example, or taking a hadith book into the toilet. The third one is facing Mecca or Jerusalem. Okay, this one only refers to when you go to the toilet in an open area. Taking the phone into the toilet is it's not makruh, no. But for example, opening the Quran up in the toilet would be makruh. So facing Mecca or Jerusalem when you go to the toilet, meaning if you're in an open area, if you face Mecca or Jerusalem, it's makruh. Otherwise, when you're into the normal toilet, it's fine, provided there's two walls. Okay? And then the next one is spreading the smell. Okay, so if I'm in the toilet, then I leave the window open and the smell goes out everywhere, then it's makruh. And the next one is speaking without necessity. Okay, that's easy enough to understand. The next one is taking gaps without a reason. Okay, so going to the toilet, stopping, washing yourself, you're not finished yet. Then you go have a break, come back to the toilet, wash yourself, go have a break, have a cup of tea, and then go back. It's better just go once. Then the next one is looking at the sky when you go into the toilet, and the last one is urinating on a tree that is used for shade or it has fruits. It bears fruit, okay, because it's gonna inconvenience the people. Okay, does anyone have any questions about istinja? Yeah, you can make the deduction that it is makruh to take time in the toilet. It is makruh. Does anyone else have any questions about istinja? It's simple enough, to be honest. Okay, inshallah, we'll move on. The conditions of wudu. Before we do wudu, you have to satisfy certain conditions before your wudu is allowed, before Allah accepts your wudu. The first one is you have to be a Muslim to do wudu. Okay, so let's say someone's about to convert to Islam, they can't do wudu and then convert to Islam. They convert to Islam and then they do wudu. So likewise, if a kafir does wudu, then his wudu is not accepted, because he doesn't meet the shart of being a Muslim. The next one is being mumayyiz. Someone who is mumayyiz is somebody who has the correct mental faculties. Okay, and as being a mumayyiz is, meaning the child who is able to clean themselves after going to the toilet. So some people, if they can't clean themselves after going to the toilet, then they're not mumayyiz. Okay, so the story of Umar doing wudu to touch the Quran. So first of all, this is a matter of ikhtilaf amongst the ulama, if a kafir can touch the Quran or if a kafir can be even pure. Okay, so it's a matter of ikhtilaf. Okay, and the last condition of wudu is knowing the difference between the sunnah and the furud of wudu. Okay, so you have to know what are the 6 things that are necessary in wudu. Okay. What are the 6 things that are necessary in wudu and the things that aren't? Okay, and you have to be clear on which one is obligatory and which one is not, otherwise your wudu is not valid. So it's very important that you learn the conditions of wudu properly. The furud of wudu properly. And number 3 is nothing to prevent water touching the skin. Meaning, if you have a ring on your finger, you have to take it off. Okay? Or if you're wearing long sleeve shirts, you have to make sure to remove the sleeves. Okay? Or if you have like nail polish for a woman must remove her nail polish before doing wudu. Otherwise, because that prevents the water touching the body. Yeah, henna is okay because water can pass through henna. Yeah, you have to remove a wig. Okay, you have to remove the wig, but we'll cover that in we'll cover that sure in a bit. Another thing is tattoos. Tattoos do prevent water from touching the body. And one thing that I was asked about is what about oil? If you put olive oil on the body, can you have to wipe the oil off? And the answer is no, because water it actually is denser than oil, so the water will go beneath the oil in the skin. So if I have oil on my arm and I put water on it, the water will go below the oil and it will touch the skin. Okay. So any questions about the conditions of wudu? Yeah, tattoos do prevent water from touching the skin. And this is one of the reasons that they're haram. It's haram to have tattoos. Okay? But if you have a tattoo and there's nothing you can do about it, then, you know, you can't do anything about it now. So you just have to wipe over it. There's nothing you can do. But generally, that would prevent the wudu being valid, generally. But if you have a tattoo and it's not going to come off, then you're not going to pray anymore. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, so you just do wudu like that. Okay. The furud of wudu. So, does anybody know what is the ayah of tahara in the Quran? What is the ayah mentioning the different types of tahara? Does anyone know? It's in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Can anybody tell us the ayah of tahara? Okay, nobody knows the ayah of tahara? Okay, so the ayah is... this is the ayah of tahara. So this ayah tells you how to purify yourself before prayer. Okay, so it mentions the fara'id of wudu, the things that are completely necessary for your wudu. The first one is your intention. Okay, so yeah, wudu and ablution are the same thing. So these are, imagine, arkan al-wudu. If you miss one of them, then your wudu is not valid. Arkan al-wudu, the furud of wudu. The first one is intention. Okay, so do you have to say the intention out loud? And the answer is no. In the Shafi'i madhab, you can say the intention out loud, but you don't. It's better not to. But you can take notes. If you can say the intention is allowed in the madhab. So you can say, I make intention to do wudu. So the first thing you do, you said the intention. Now what you do, you wash the face. When you wash the face, you have to make sure you wash from the hairline, or where the hairline used to be for someone who is balding, from the hairline until the bottom of the chin. Okay, and you have to make sure that area is completely washed, and then from ear to ear. And that if you don't do that, so if some people they just wipe their face with one hand with water, it doesn't count. That's not allowed. You have to make sure you wash the whole face, ear to ear, hairline to chin, or where the hairline used to be. The next one is washing the arms until the elbows. So a lot of people, what they do, they just wash from the wrist. You have to wash from the hand, from the tip of the middle finger. That's the tallest point, the end of the hand. Tip of the middle finger. Make sure you've washed the hand from the middle finger all the way up to and including the elbow. Okay, it's not allowed for you just to wipe the arm. Some people, they just wash their forearm. Make sure from the fingertip all the way to the end. The next bit in the Shafi'i madhab is just to wipe a single part of the head. This is one of the separate things, the distinct things in the madhab, that you just wipe part of the head. You don't have to wipe the whole head. Okay, so in the Hanafi madhab, you have to wipe the whole head, including the back of the neck. In the Shafi'i madhab, just wet your fingers, wet your hand with water, and wipe the head just like that, just the top of the head. I don't know, I'm demonstrating myself and I haven't got my camera on. So just wipe part of the head. It doesn't count for a woman with long hair, for example, to wipe some of her hair. It has to be part of the head. The Quran says, it says the word head, not hair. Some people make this mistake, they wipe the hair. He has to be the head. The next one is to wash the feet from the big toe, which is the end of the foot, all the way up to and including the ankles. Okay? So the Shia, they say they don't have to wash the feet. And this is wrong. Because the ayah, it says, let me get my Quran. So the ayah, so remember the ayah, what's the ayah? It's ayah 5, number 6. Surah 5, ayah number 6. The ayah says, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْن. So the Shia interpret this to mean that you have to wipe the feet. But they're wrong. Because of the linguistics of the verse, it includes the order. So the order says بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلِكُمْ. So وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلِكُمْ. Wipe the head and the feet. That's what you would get if you're reading it literally. But that's incorrect. So because of the linguistics of the verse, بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, and then وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ, it returns to the previous bit about washing. Due to the linguistics, which I can't explain to you. Maybe one of the more knowledgeable brothers who's more knowledgeable in the Arabic language, in the Nahw and Sarf of the Arabic language, can explain inshallah later. Okay. Yeah, so when you wipe the head, you have to make sure the water touches the skin of the head. It has to be part of the head, not the hair. Does that make sense? The head itself, the skin of the head, I mean. Not the hair. Not meaning like shave yourself and then wipe the hair, but make sure the water goes through the hair and touches the skin. Yeah, the word mentioned in the Quran is ru'usikum, meaning your head. It doesn't mention sha'arikum, meaning your hair. Okay? So you shouldn't require too much water. If you just put a touch of water on top of the head, if you have a lot of hair, then, I mean, you can wipe through the hair, no? You should be able to wipe through the hair, I imagine. You don't have to wipe the whole head. Just make sure the head part itself is wiped. Not all the hair. You don't need to wash the hair. I don't know which kind of hair you have, but I assume water can go through your hair. If it doesn't, then I don't know. I can't explain that. Yeah, even if you have a big afro, you should be able to, you should still be able to get water through it. I mean, nobody's head is waterproof, I hope. No, you don't. You're not washing your head. You don't wash your head, please. That's not what the ayah mentions. The ayah says, "Wamsahu," wipe your head itself. If you have so much hair that you can't get water through it, then I assume you should, shave your head, I assume. And there's something else you can do. Okay. And then the last one is to do it all in order, because Allah mentioned it in this specific order and you can't go against this order that Allah mentioned. Okay. Let's move on. The sunnah of wudu. And there are many, and I've just included a few. I might have skipped some. Okay, there are many. So the first one is saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and washing your hands. The next one is as-siwak. So I wrote brushing your teeth to keep it simple, but the sunnah is to do siwak, to use the siwak itself. The next one is to rinse the mouth. So put water in the mouth, rinse it a bit and spit it out. Okay? And typically when you're rinsing your mouth, you should rinse water through your nose. Remember, in the Shafi'i madhab, you don't have to rinse the nose, but it's sunnah. The way you rinse the nose is you just cup some water in your hand. In the Shafi'i madhab, you just cup water in your hand, put it in your nose and blow it out after. Okay, that's the Shafi'i madhab. If I'm not mistaken, in the Hanafi madhab, you actually have to suck water up into your nostrils. Okay? So remember, you just put water in the nose. You don't have to get it right into the nose. The next one is wiping the whole head. Okay, so wiping the whole head means wet both hands and start from the top of the head with both hands covering the head and then just go through, inshallah. The next one is wiping the inside and the outside of the ears with your fingers. So just grip your fingers with your thumb and your with your wet thumb and your wet index finger, and just start from the top of the ear and work your way through it. The next one is interlacing between the fingers and the toes and making sure you rub between the fingers and the toes when you're washing them. The next one is people with a thick beard. You have to run your wet fingers through the beard. Okay, so I haven't seen a lot of people actually with really, really thick beards like this. Well, you have to make sure you like run the fingers through it. The next one is starting with the right side over the left side. The next one is doing everything 3 times. So wiping the head 3 times, washing the head 3 times, rinsing the mouth 3 times, and so on. The next one is doing everything continuously, meaning don't take it, sit down, don't wash your face, sit down, have a cup of tea, then start washing the arms, and so on. The next one is rubbing the body parts. So you're making sure you're cleaning properly. So when you wash your arms, it's not just put water on your arms. That's allowed. But the better way is take water and actually rub through your arms, rub off any excess dirt on your arms and so on. And the last one is doing a dua afterwards. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a specific dua which I have forgotten. Another sunnah is to do 2 raka'at sunnah. And you should read the story of Bilal radiallahu anh, and how he used to do 2 wudu, 2 raka'at sunnah after every wudu. Okay, any questions on the sunnah of wudu? Should I take that as a no? اللهم اجني من التوابين وجعلني من المتطهرين. I think that might be one of the du'ats. Yes, there's quite a few. Inshallah, if you check out Hisn al-Muslim, you should find out the du'a. Okay, so should we move on to the next topic or next slide, inshallah? Yes, remember, it is sufficient just to do the fara'id, the necessary things. That's the whole point of the fara'id. Just doing this is enough. Okay, but it is better to do this. So many of these, imagine you're getting extra good deeds. You're getting an extra easy good deed by wiping the whole head instead of wiping just a part of the head. You're getting extra good deeds for rinsing your mouth. Why wouldn't you? How sinful are we? Allah has made it easy for us. He's merciful in His mercy. He made it so easy for us to get good deeds that all we have to do is rinse our mouth and get good deed. You're meant to rinse the mouth and nose in one. So if you get water in your hand, into the mouth and into the nose as well. Okay, but like I said, in the Hanafi madhab, if I'm not mistaken, they consider it wajib that you have to rinse through your nose. But I'm not sure on that. Okay, inshallah, you can check that again later on. You can do as many as you want. The sunnah. Do whatever was easy for you. Okay, not wajib for wudu. Okay, it's only wajib for ghusl. That's fine. Okay. The makruhat of wudu. Simple. Wasting water, taking too long, doing everything more than 3 times, and wiping the water off afterwards. Okay? But it is allowed, so it's allowed to wipe the water off afterwards, provided it's like cold. If you have to wipe the water off, wipe it off. Yeah, you should not wipe yourself after doing wudu. So you shouldn't wipe the water off. You should let yourself dry off naturally. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about wudu? If you can't prevent drops of pee falling, then inshallah, Islam QA has a good article on this. If you can search it, inshallah, that explains the matter of urine dripping. Inshallah, go read the article. Okay, do you guys? I assume you have questions about wudu. No, the wudu is not invalid. It's just makruh to wipe yourself after. So it's better not to. But the wudu is still valid. Okay, let's move on. the things that nullify your wudu. So one misconception, very, very common misconception, is that touching najasa breaks your wudu. So if I touch some poo, my wudu is broken. No, it's a very common misconception, and it's not true. All you have to do is just remove the najasa. So this misconception that if you touch najasa it breaks your wudu, no, it's not true. Okay, so these are the 4 things that break your wudu. Anything at all leaving the 2 bodily exits. Okay, anything at all. The next one is losing consciousness through sleep, madness, being possessed by a jinn, illness, or intoxication. So with sleep, it means sleeping, not sitting on the ground. Meaning, you know, when you're sitting sometimes and you just doze off for a second, you just fall for a second. Okay, so like how my lectures are boring and you guys doze off for a second. This doesn't break your wudu, provided you are sitting. But if you lie down and sleep, then your wudu is broken. But this little little doze off when you're sitting down, it's fine. Okay, somebody's server deafened. I'll do that. Okay. No. If you have touched the genitalia of the baby, then you have to do wudu. It breaks your wudu. I don't know about sleeping through during sujood. I do not know. But I assume, I don't know. I haven't encountered that question yet. So the next one, so this is unique, mostly unique to the Shafi'i madhab. Okay, so this is very unique to the Shafi'i madhab. If you touch somebody you can marry, you have skin to skin contact with them, your wudu is broken. Okay, this is this is unique to the Shafi'i madhab, that any skin to skin contact between 2 people who can get married, it does break the wudu. Okay, this is Shafi'i opinion, and this is one of the most controversial opinions in the madhab. And actually, the Shafi'i opinion that touching somebody you can marry does break your wudu is actually correct based on the ayah. So the ayah from before. So let's see what the translator says. So if you're in a state of janaba, then purify yourself. Or you have contacted a woman. Okay, so أو لامستم النساء, if you have touched a woman, according to the actual verse itself, the Shafi'i opinion is the most correct. But the problem here is there are a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, that it is indicated that whilst he was praying, he would touch Aisha. The reason he would touch her is because they lived in a small room. So she would sleep on the floor and he would be praying the whole night. So whilst he was praying, he would touch her foot. Sometimes she would fall asleep in prayer, so he would touch her foot to tell her to move. Or she was sleeping, so he would touch her to make her move. They were married already. But what it means by marriage, it's just the opposite gender you can marry. Anybody you can marry, the spouse included, or spouse included. Okay, and this skin to skin contact is controversial. So some of the Shafi'is, they say, he touched her clothing. Okay, but we don't know. So this is one of the controversial opinions in the madhab. And Imam Shafi'i said, if I'm correct, then my reward is with Allah. If I made a mistake, then may Allah forgive me. If you're not able to hold the gas for long, then like I said, Islamki also has an article on this. So they say, if I remember correctly, that you should do your wudu and pray, and you renew your wudu for every prayer. Okay, so if you can't manage to hold the gas in, same with urine, like with incontinence, and same with a woman who's always bleeding. And the last one is touching the genitalia of a human with the palm or the fingertips, and this breaks the wudu. Okay, one thing I forgot, and let's go back to my fault for forgetting, on washing the feet is mashul khuffain, wiping over the sock. And it is simple. So you can wipe over the sock. It is allowed in all 4 madhabs to wipe over the sock. But now the ikhtilaf is on what kind of sock it is. Okay? And 99% of ulama say you can wipe over the thick sock. So now what is a thick sock? according to Hanafis and Malikis, a thick sock is a sock that is a sock that can stand on its own and it is waterproof. Okay, that's the Hanafi and Maliki opinion on what thick sock is. Okay, according to the Hanabila and the Shafi'iyya, so the Hanbali and Shafi'i madhahib, you can wipe over a sock that is thick, and thick here means that you cannot see the complexion of the foot. So meaning the color of the foot is covered by the sock. Okay. And then according to Imam Nawawi, so one of his unique opinions that he held is that any sock is allowed regardless of the material. So Imam Nawawi's opinion is that anything is okay, but the majority opinion of the Hanabil and the Shafi'is is that the sock has to be thick enough to cover the foot, meaning you can't see the color of the foot through the sock. Then you can wipe over it. But like I said, with regards to the Malikis and Hanafis, they say the sock has to be waterproof, and that's the basis of the ikhtilaf here. Okay. So if I have friends who have many sons and they touch me between wudu and prayer, if they are adults, then you have to do wudu. Okay, but when you're praying, you shouldn't have. I mean, if they're touching your foot when you're praying, that's when you have to do wudu. But if they're touching your clothing or like a part of your body that's covered by clothing, then you don't have to do wudu. But if they're young, then it's fine. If they're young children, then it doesn't break your wudu. Or like a really old woman even. But that's a more complicated discussion. According to the Shafi'i madhab, so this is one of the unique opinions, like I said, is any contact, except in cases where the contact you cannot prevent the contact, meaning in tawaf. In the Shafi'i madhab, so like I said, in the Shafi'i madhab, this opinion that touching the opposite gender breaks your wudu, it applies for every scenario except for tawaf, because in tawaf people are packed together a lot. Okay, so in the Shafi'i madhab, people are packed together a lot in tawaf. So when you touch the opposite gender, skin to skin contact, you might touch a woman's hand. Then in this case, you don't have to do wudu. That's the one scenario in the Shafi'i madhab where this doesn't happen. This rule isn't followed because it's impossible. You should constantly be stopping your tawaf, and that's not practical. In the Maliki opinion on touching opposite gender, they say, if I'm not mistaken again, it's a bit more complex, but to keep it like simple, they say if you touch a woman with intention. So if you're walking past a woman and your hands briskly touch like that, then your wudu's not broken. But if you purposely touch a woman, then your wudu is broken. According to Hanabila, touching here, it means to touch a woman with desire, if that makes sense to you, inshallah. I don't have to expand deeper on what with desire means, I hope. In the Hanafi opinion, no touch at all. Touching doesn't matter. If you touch a woman, if you kiss a woman, so in the Hanbali madhab, if you kiss a woman, then your wudu is broken. In the Hanafi madhab, even if you kiss a woman, no wudu. You still have wudu. Okay? And I can't explain the Hanafi opinion here. It doesn't make sense to me. But like I said, that's another topic between the ulama that they have debates upon. Okay, does anyone have any questions on wudu, or have I gone through everything? Yeah, someone who has incontinence cannot lead the prayer. Also, one more thing is, in the Shafi'i madhab, okay, we're looking at one of the states, wudu and ghusl. We'll come to ghusl next, inshallah. In the Shafi'i madhab, you cannot pray behind a Hanafi imam who, according to Shafi'i fiqh, he broke his wudu. So in Hanafi fiqh, touching the genitalia does not break your wudu. So if you touch your own private parts, then you still have wudu. In the Shafi'i madhab, if you do, you don't have wudu. So you cannot pray behind the imam. So if you see the imam touches a woman and prays in the Shafi'i madhab, you can't pray behind that imam. The prayer is not valid behind him, because according to Shafi'i fiqh, his prayer is not valid, but according to his fiqh it is. So you can't pray behind him. Okay? Does that explain that topic as well, of praying behind people? Okay, silence indicates to me that it explains it. Okay, let's move on. Things that necessitate ghusl. So the first one is intercourse between a man and a woman. The next one is sperm leaving a man. So remember, there's wadi and mani. Okay, so if you have questions that are relevant to the topic right now, then write them now, inshallah, and I'll come to them once I finish the slide. If you need questions about the topic, but it's not really related, then inshallah ask at the end. So number 2 is sperm leaving a man. Number 3, death of a Muslim who is not a shaheed. So if a Muslim dies, then you have to wash his body before you bury him. If a Muslim dies as a shaheed, as a martyr, then he is not washed, he is buried as he is. And the people who die as a martyr, so from the top of my head, the Muslim who is killed in battle, the Muslim who is killed defending his money and his property, the Muslim woman who dies during childbirth, the Muslim who dies during an earthquake when a building falls upon him, the Muslim who drowns, and the Muslim who dies from plague. These people are not washed. They are buried in their clothing as they died, because they are shaheed. Okay? I assume the brother has a question on this topic of the Muslim, the dead Muslim. Even if they die in janaba, they are not washed. Okay? So remember, we'll cover what janaba is in a second. The next one is the Muslim woman who is in a state of hayd and she finishes her hayd. So hayd is the woman's monthly, 28-day cycle. Okay, so the woman's period. After that, she has to do ghusl. She has to have a shower before she can do anything. And the next one is nifas. So nifas is postnatal bleeding for a woman after a woman gives birth. They bleed for about 40 days sometimes. So after that is finished, they have to do ghusl to clean themselves. And the last one is after childbirth. So after childbirth, the woman has to do ghusl. Okay. So I assume that was simple enough, the things that necessitate ghusl. So let's move on. How to do ghusl. So first of all, you start with the intention. So this is one of the key differences between the Shafi'i madhab and the Hanafi madhab. In the Hanafi madhab, if I just jump in a swimming pool, that counts. In the Shafi'i madhab, I have to have the intention of washing myself. So it's enough to go in a swimming pool to wash myself, but I have to have the intention that I'm doing so for ghusl. I can't just do it and have ghusl as a byproduct. The next one is making sure water has touched every part of the body and every part of the hair. Okay, so if a woman has long hair, she has to make sure her hair is all washed. She can't just, wash her body and leave her hair. The hair has to be washed. Yeah, you can combine the intentions for ghusl. So the intention of going into a swimming pool and doing ghusl. But you have to make sure you have the intention of ghusl as well. It doesn't count to just go swimming and say, oh, I went swimming before I have ghusl. Or I had a shower before and now I have ghusl. If you didn't do the intention for ghusl. Yeah, but no, without the intention you don't get the thawab. Okay, it's in the Hanafi madhab. In the Shafi'i madhab, like I said, if you don't do the intention, then your ghusl is not valid. You have to have the intention of doing ghusl. Okay. Are there any questions on ghusl? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for ghusl. Someone does ghusl by just jumping in the shower without any sunnahs, yeah, it's fine. Provided you have made sure the entire body is washed, all of the hair and all of the body is washed, then your ghusl is valid, and that's all that you need. So one thing that I forgot to include in the slides is the sunnah of ghusl. And the reason I didn't include it is it is simple. The sunnah of ghusl is to start off with istinja, then do wudu, and then to rub the body parts to clean them. And the next one is to start from the top of the body, and to make sure you wash every part of the body 3 times. So I forgot to include this in the slides. Yeah, so I should include the sunnah of wudu are also included. Yes, if you're in a state of janaba, we'll come to janaba again in a bit. If you're in a state of janaba and you don't do ghusl, then your salah is not valid. Inshallah, we'll cover that as well when we come to the chapter of salah and the conditions of salah. And the makruhat of ghusl are the makruhat of wudu. And the shurut of ghusl, the conditions of ghusl are the same as wudu. So I forgot to include this as well. Okay, any questions about ghusl, or I guess it's self-explanatory enough. If any of these things happen, do this. Simple, right? No, for ghusl you have to wash your hair. You have to wash the entire body. So remember the sunnah, go to the toilet, wash yourself, do wudu, and then start off by washing from the top of your body, wash the head, and then work your way down. So you have to wash the hair. The furud for ghusl are just 2. Wash intention, make sure the entire body is washed and the hair is washed. That's all you need to do ghusl, nothing else. Okay? But the sunnah way is to do wudu and the sunnah of wudu as well. So that's the better way of doing it. But it is enough just to have the intention and wash the whole body. And make sure every part of the body is wet, including the ears, inside the nose, not all the way up, just inside, like the hairs of the nose are washed, and so on. Okay, let's move on. So tayammum. Tayammum, simply enough, is doing tahara using soil. So tayammum, it counts for both ghusl and wudu. Ghusl and wudu. Okay? If you haven't got the water to do ghusl or wudu, you do tayammum. So tayammum. When do you do tayammum? The first one is that you don't have water. You have no water at all, you do tayammum. The next one is fear of using the water. So if your skin, for example, is allergic to water, or because it's cold, using the water might hurt you if it's cold, because you're gonna freeze your skin. So in that case, you can do tayammum as well. And the last one is that you need the water for drinking by a respected being. And inshallah, we're going to cover in a bit what respected beings are. So any questions about tayammum? We'll cover in a bit as well how to do tayammum. Okay, are there no questions? I assume there's no questions then. Okay, let's move on. So the respected being. The respected being is everybody on earth except at-tarikus salat, the person who has abandoned prayer. So the general definition, the fiqh definition, according to Shafi'is, Hanbalis and Malikis at least, the tarikus salat is somebody who hasn't prayed for 3 days. They call it tarikus salat at that point in time. The next one is az-zani, so the adulterer or the fornicator. The next one is the murderer. The next one is the murtad, the person who left Islam. The next one is a kafir harbi, the kafir who is actively fighting against the Muslimin. They are not a respected animal. And the next one is a dog and a pig. So if a dog and a pig need water, you use that water for wudu instead of giving them water. Your tayammum, you're not allowed to do tayammum in that case. You have to do wudu. Yeah, a normal kafir is fine. A normal kafir is completely fine. But a kafir who's killing Muslims, then no. You let them, you leave them. You leave them and you use that water to do wudu. Is it haram to love a kafir? That's a complex, it's a bit difficult of a question, and the answer is yes. A simple answer if you want. A really simple answer is yes. Okay? But like I said, it's a more detailed discussion, inshallah, to do with bara. I'm not aware of any ikhtilaf on this. But meaning to love a kafir is to love a kafir for their kufr, then that's haram. And that could even be kufr itself. But like I said, that's a more detailed discussion Inshallah, we can have at another time. Okay. So, how to do tayammum? You start off with the intention. You don't just dump into a sand dune and tayammum. You say, I've done tayammum. La. You start off with the intention. Then you put soil on the hands. So the way you put soil is, you can hit a wall, like a dusty wall, like a cement wall. You know how they have dust on it? You hit the wall twice with your hands and you have dust on it. Or you can pick up soil from the ground. Okay? And the next one is, you take your soiled hands, the hand with soil, and you wipe your face, and then you wipe your arms, hand from arms. I don't know why I wrote hands, it should be arms. And you have to make sure you do it in that order. So pick up dirt, wipe the face, wipe the arms, and you have to make sure you do it briskly. You do it at the same time. So hit the wall, pick up the dust, wipe the face, and then wipe the arms. I don't know, do you mean dua? Yeah, nothing wrong with learning about different religions. I don't know what you mean by diya here. What's diya got to do with tayammum? Diya meaning blood money? The slides? You want the slides? Yeah, you'll have the slides inshallah. I forgot to upload it last week. I forgot to upload the slides and the test, the short test. I'll do that inshallah right after we finish inshallah. Okay, any questions on tayammum? What do you mean by diya? What does diya mean? Diya means pictures. What language is that inshallah? If someone can inform me. Diya show. Huh? Slides. Inshallah. Okay, that's fine. Dias is Dutch. Okay, nice to know. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so the nullifiers of tayammum. And the first one is anything that breaks your wudu and ghusl. If you do something that necessitates ghusl and wudu, then you do tayammum. The next one is seeing water before the prayer time. Okay, so it's not finding water, it's even seeing water, inshallah. Okay, so I don't know why I said inshallah. It's a bad experience. So you know a mirage is. Yeah, if you see a mirage and you see water, then you have to do your tayammum is broken, even if it's not real water. Okay, or you hallucinate and you see a bottle of water, your tayammum is broken. Okay, or you're high on drugs or something and you see water, your tayammum is broken. I mean, being high would break your wudu anyway. And the last one is leaving Islam. It breaks your tayammum. And tayammum is done for every single prayer. Okay, so it's a cycle. You start off, you look for the prayer time enters, you look at the sun, you see it's dhuhr time. You go, you look for water. You can't find water, do tayammum, pray. Then it's Asr time now. Asr time is entered, you can see the shadows, it's Asr time. You look around for water, you can't find it, tayammum. Now it's Maghrib time. It's Maghrib time, you see it's Maghrib from the sun. Look around for water, you can't find it, tayammum. And you do that 5 times a day until you find water. Okay. Any questions on tayammum? Did I cover everything I need to do on tayammum? Let me just double check. Okay, no questions I assume. Okay. Hadath al-Asghar. So we're returning back to the 3 things we went through today. Hadath al-Asghar. This is everything that requires wudu. So remember, there's hadath and khabath. Okay, so let me write it quickly. There's hadath and khabath. Okay, so remember, hadath is spiritual impurity, khabath is physical impurity. How do you clean khabath? You remove the najasa, okay, or you do istinja and the najasa is gone. So khabath is the actual impurity that you can see. Okay, hadath is the spiritual impurity, so it's a state of impurity that you enter. So Hadath is into Hadath al-Asghar, meaning minor spiritual impurity, and it is cleaned by doing wudu. When you are in a state of Hadath al-Asghar, you cannot pray, do tawaf, touch or carry a mushaf. Okay? That's simple enough, I assume. Has my Discord frozen? Is everyone still here? Can I have some responses? Are you all asleep? Did I bore you? Okay, good. So that's Hadath al-Asghar. It's simple enough. Anything that requires ghusl, wudu, you enter a state of Hadath al-Asghar. And during this state you cannot pray, do tawaf, touch or carry a mushaf. Simple. And the last one is Hadath al-Akbar. And this is everything that requires ghusl. So Akbar meaning major spiritual impurity. And there are three things that you enter into a state of spiritual impurity. The first one is janaba. So remember, you enter the state of janaba after intercourse, or if sperm left for a man. Okay, so for example, if a man had a wet dream, he's in a state of janaba. Same for a woman. If a woman had a wet dream, she enters into a state of janaba. So you have to do ghusl. And during the state of janaba, you cannot pray, do tawaf, touch or carry a mushaf, read the Quran, or sit in the masjid, or enter into the masjid. Okay, so before you do any of these things, you have to have a shower. Yeah, even reading the Quran from memory, you cannot do that. You have to have a shower first. And then the next one is Hayd al-Nifas. So during Hayd al-Nifas, a woman cannot pray, do tawaf, touch or carry a mushaf, she cannot read Quran, she cannot stay in the masjid, she cannot fast, and she cannot do intercourse. It's haram. Okay? So now one thing for the woman who's in a state of Hayd al-Nifas, reading Quran. Okay, this is a matter of discussion amongst the ulama. The majority of the ulama, they say the woman who's in a state of Hayd al-Nifas, she cannot read the Quran at all. It's haram. Okay, but some ulama, they say, la, it's not fair. It's not correct. Because they're making they're using an analogy. Qiyas. Remember qiyas. So it is the majority opinion amongst the Shafi'is, Hanafis, Hanbalis and Malikis. Although some Hanbalis and some Malikis, if I'm not mistaken, say you can read Quran. Okay? And most modern ulama say it is okay for the female student to read Quran in the state of Hayd al-Nifas. In the state of Hayd, I should say, rather. Okay? Because they say the analogy between Janab and Hayd here is not valid. And to be honest, it is a stronger opinion, and it is the opinion of most modern ulama. Even the ulama of the madhahib. So the Shafi'i ulama and so on. They say a woman can read Quran in a state of Hayd. Okay? Well, like I said, that's a discussion amongst the ulama that they have to do. And that they are having, sorry. Okay. And with that, inshallah, that brings an end to the lesson. Yeah. Meaning, if you have a lesson, you should go. That is the opinion of most modern ulama. If a woman has a lesson in the masjid, and she's in a state of Hayd, she should go anyway. It is okay for her to go read Quran. Okay, so that should bring an end to this lesson, inshallah, on Tahara. And with that, we have finished Tahara. So does anyone have any questions on Tahara? Anything you felt I confused you with, or maybe I need clarifying to you and so on? Ameen. Wa iyyakum. So are there no questions on Tahara? Okay, so once again, there's only 20 of you watching the live stream, and there's 22 of you, 23 of you, 24 of you in the lecture now. Okay, good. So, general definitions of these words. Ridda is leaving the state of Islam. Hayd, we said, is the woman's menstrual cycles. Okay, so that lasts for about 10 days for some. Max, I think, is 10 days, according to the ulama. And then nifas is postnatal bleeding. So when a woman bleeds after childbirth, and that lasts for up to 40 days. Okay, any other questions on any of the topics? Remember, we went through istinja, wudu, ghusl, tayammum, and what you cannot do when you need to do ghusl and wudu. Okay, maybe if you have questions about the previous topics about izalat najasa, removing najasa, or the history of the Shafi'i madhab, or the essentials of the madhab, we can go through that as well if you need questions, if you have questions on that. Okay, are there any other questions? Doesn't matter if it's related or not. Like I said, we have a 5-minute discussion at the end of the lesson. If anything that you need help with, anything, if it's maybe embarrassing, you don't want everyone to know, then you can just DM me inshallah and I can address it now. I think we already had a lesson on wala wal bara and friendship with the kuffar and disavowal from the kuffar. We already had a lesson on that. (5:51). Let me open the verse. Let me take a look. Yes, this is a question. This is to do with wala wal bara and tawali with the kuffar against the Muslimin. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having a friend who is non-Muslim. Nothing wrong with that, provided you are not close friends with them and your friendship with them does not harm the Muslimin or go against the Muslimin. And as long as you have bara of their kufr, okay, so that you disavow and hate their kufr for them when Islam is greater for them. So what is considered close is a bit, is a bit detailed, more detailed meaning. So I mean, like I said, that's a detailed discussion amongst the ulama again. Just search the questions I said with regards to incontinence and inability to hold gas. And search, inshallah, if you search that on Islam QA, it should give you a detailed answer. Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, that's a good answer. We shouldn't be dependent. You shouldn't defend or be supportive of their kufr. So you can think of it as a positive hate. Okay, positive hate. Before I get called a hate preacher, I'm a positive hate preacher. We hate their kufr for them when Islam is greater for them. It's as simple as that. From the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, "Inna bura'a'u minkum ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا." Okay, so hate the disbelief when Islam is greater for them. It's really simple, really. Positive hate, subhanallah. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, like I said, it's fine to be acquaintances with them and speak with them and advise them and so on. Okay? But provided that you don't let their kufr and their disbelief harm you and affect you. Inshallah, you have to make a judgment for yourself. You have to be wise, and you have to know when is it enough. When are you helping them with religion, and when are they taking it out of your religion? You have to be wise about this. I don't know why you guys ask questions about this topic. I don't know how. We're talking about tahara. Did you guys get a notification that the lesson today started? By the way, there was the event on the planner, on the calendar. Did it work at 7 p.m? Okay, mashallah. That's still something, a feature I think Discord is ironing out. So I don't know really. I also pressed yes, but I don't know if it worked. I didn't get any notification. Okay, are there any further questions on this topic? Is this person in the chat? Are they in the VC? No, they aren't. Okay, it's fine. What about this brother? What if I get high unintentionally? If you get high, you get high. Your wudu is broken. your wudu, and you have to do ghusl. You have to do wudu after this. Okay. Okay, if there are no further questions, inshallah, or anything you want explained, we'll end here, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan for attending. I hope you all benefited. And like I said, inshallah, the notes will be available, the slides and a short test for you to do will be available in #lecture notes as soon as you are able to. As soon as I am able to, I should say, sorry. And I will see you again for the next lesson, next Wednesday, inshallah, where we will go through Salat. We will start Salat and see how much you get through, inshallah. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan for attending. I hope you all benefited. If there's anything beneficial, like I said, it is from Allah. If there's anything that has confused you, then that is from me and my faults and from shaitan, and may Allah forgive me for that. If you have anything you need me to go through again, inshallah, just ping me or send me a message, inshallah. I'll try and help out, or I'll refer you to somebody more knowledgeable. And with that, inshallah, we're gonna end. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.